Alright, guys, welcome to AEW Dynamite, March 4th, 2020. This episode actually was a decent one, despite the fact that this was a episode right after a major pay-per-view that they just recently had on Saturday of February 29th of 2020. I have to say the main event was definitely well done. I liked what they did here. Number one. Number two, they made Darby Allin look great, even in defeat. And the Inner Circle looks like a dominant faction, very intimidating faction of a group of guys that are willing to do whatever it takes to get the AEW World Championship back on the shoulder of Chris Jericho. So I do like what I had to see, what I actually saw at the end of this episode. The rest of the show, take it or leave it, really, to be honest with you. It was a decent, okay show, but the main event really brought this show to a higher level. The introduction to the show with Jon Moxley walking out as the new World Heavyweight Champion, displaying the title on the shoulder, and just giving his overall opinion on how hard he worked to become the champion was very nice. He also mentioned not just because he won the world title as his championship, it was never Chris Jericho's championship. It is each and every one of the fans that enjoy watching professional wrestling and want an alternative to WWE. Didn't mention WWE, but you get my point. Chris Jericho came out, mentioned that he was very upset with what happened. He thought that Jon Moxley actually cheated because he pretended to have a damaged eye, wearing an eye patch that he didn't need to wear at all, making him think he had an above he had an advantage over Jon Moxley, and he underestimated him, and he got screwed anyway. So he felt that that was a screw job. Typical heel-like comments made by a former champion who's no longer the champion, of course. So he made a promise. They would make sure that Jon Moxley does not walk out of this show at the end of the night on his own 2 feet. Or he would go ahead and leave the company for a 60-day absence. He would basically suspend himself, I guess you could say. And that's where we were left off with this storyline. So nothing happened throughout the entire show. No interactions with Jon Moxley in the Inner Circle until the main event. From there, we had the SCU and Colt Cabana versus the entire 4 members of the Dark Order. This match, I didn't particularly care for. Was it bad? No. I thought it was a decent matchup. Colt Cabana actually gets the victory at the end of the day, and Evil Uno actually expressed his disbelief and is very upset and continued to toit the arrival of the Exalted One. If you don't know who the Exalted One is yet, you're fucking crazy, because at the end of the day, we all know who it's going to be. It's going to be Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy has to be the one to win this match. So, quite frankly, I think that was kind of a obvious situation. That we're going to see Matt Hardy as the Exalted One, and he's going to play the role very well. The only one I think could play the role better than Matt Hardy at this point, playing that kind of role, is Bray Wyatt, but we all know he's not leaving WWE. Hopefully at some point we will see him leave that company, because that company is doing nothing but burying this sorry son of a bitch, when Bray Wyatt is more capable and is creative in what he does than any guy I have seen in a long while. So that's just my opinion on Bray Wyatt. We had then Big Swole versus Leva Bates. Didn't care for this match, and thank God it didn't last very long. Piece of shit match. Who gives a fuck? Next was Cody Rhodes doing a comment about what happened to him at the pay-per-view at Revolution against MJF. He felt that he lost and he was disappointed in the loss. Jake the Snake Roberts comes out and interrupts Cody. And he mentions that, he says, I don't understand why you're out here. Just openly admit that you lost and you got your ass kicked. That's pretty much the whole basis of Jake Roberts' comments. He also goes on to say that 20 years he has fought his way to being clean from all drugs and abuse of all kinds of drugs, and now he's living a cleaner lifestyle. So he wants a payoff for that. And he wants it out of Cody. He wants a payoff out of Cody, basically. Taking a piece of Cody. And him being a manager to a client that he did not mention in this promo. Being on the side as a manager to a client and having that client face Cody in a one-on-one match. While he had Arn Anderson in his corner. So, didn't quite get that. They didn't really explain exactly what happened. Like, who is he a client to, but whatever. Chuck Taylor went one-on-one with Pac. This matchup was very similar to the matchup with Orange Cassidy in some way, I guess you could say. Very quick match, wasn't way too long. And this was the second thing on this show that actually stood out to me. After the match was over, when Pac defeated Taylor, we actually have the Lucha Brothers come down to the ring and help Pac eliminate the rest of the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. They have created the team called the Death Triangle. I actually kind of like it. I think it's kind of unique. Seeing the Lucha Brothers with Pac, I think was very, very nice. And I think they make a very good trio. I would definitely love to see them go one-on-one with the SCU. If they wanted to bring a championship into this company, it would definitely be a 6-man tag team championship belt. I think they would be able to pull off great 6-man tag team matches with championship gold on the line on top of it. So that's definitely something I could possibly see something like that happening in AEW at some point. But I'm pretty sure they're going to go with a mid-card title to fill in the slot where other people are not getting world championship opportunities. The match, though, itself, I had no issues with. I thought it was a pretty solid, okay matchup. So I'm pretty satisfied with what happened, and I definitely like the trio that was created tonight. Jake Hager went up against QT Marshall. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, and nor do I care. He got his ass whooped just the way he should have, and lost by a triangle choke, submission hold, and he fell asleep, and that was that. The referee stopped the match since he was not answering the ref. The match was very short, sweet, and to the point. Then it was the main event. There was actually a moment where MJF actually had some comments made about the whole situation, what happened at WrestleMania, not at WrestleMania, what the fuck am I talking about? Revolution. And he actually went ahead and had a t-shirt that said, I pinned Cody. I have to tell you guys, I hope that shirt's available to purchase on AEWshop.com, because if it is, I would definitely love to buy that shirt. I think that would be fucking cool just to have. Just with the writing, I pinned Cody. That's fucking cool. So at that point, we just had the main event with Jon Moxley and Darby Allin versus Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, the Spanish loser god. I guess you could say, but he's basically a fucking loser and a jobber for the Inner Circle. Here tonight, he did not play that role. As I mentioned earlier in this review, Jon Moxley was attacked, and at that point, he was taken out of this match. This left Darby Allin having an opportunity. I don't care if he won or lost. This highlighted Darby Allin with a lot of adversity, and he lived up to the challenge. He almost won this match by himself. They made him look so fucking good. With Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, I gotta give props to both of these guys on the Inner Circle for helping Darby Allin look so fucking great in this situation. Despite the fact he lost the match, he almost looked like he was going to pull off an unbelievable upset, and he almost did that in this matchup. Gotta give it to Jericho and Sammy Guevara on this. They did a great job helping Darby Allin look good. And Darby Allin, what can I say, man? This guy is a star in the making. He has got a lot of skill, and he's fun as fuck, and got lots of energy and a lot of drive and passion for what he does in the middle of that ring. He'll take a beating and keep on ticking. He'll also do a lot of crazy ass shit that will entertain the audience and do whatever it takes to get the crowd roaring. So I gotta give it up to this kid. Sammy Guevara, I will say this. He may be a loser and a jobber, but he definitely has skill. I've liked the guy as a wrestler since he fought Cody Rhodes one-on-one in their very first episode. But at the end of the day, this guy is a fucking loser. He has not been winning anything. But for whatever reason, he's still giving shot after shot. If I was Chris Jericho and the rest of the Inner Circle, I'd get rid of this motherfucker. He's just a fucking loser. Based on storylines. I'm not saying, hey, it's a good idea to get rid of him, because the guy's got fucking great talent. I gotta say that about Sammy Guevara, despite the fact I don't like the little motherfucker. So, the last part of the show was the Inner Circle actually has Jon Moxley show up on the end of this matchup after Darby Allin's pinned by Jericho, and Jon Moxley comes storming out with a chair. He tries to attack the rest of the Inner Circle, and he ends up getting attacked again, and then also powerbombed the way the Shield used to do their powerbombs and their opponents, through a table off the stage. It looked pretty fucking badass, number one. Number two, it looks like Jon Moxley's back is against the wall, and definitely could put Jon Moxley in a bad situation. But I will go on to say this. This makes the Inner Circle look like an intimidating group. And on top of it, it should be interesting how they pull off Jon Moxley to overcome the odds and still retain this championship, because I have a gut feeling they're going to have Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley one-on-one one more time before Jon Moxley moves on to a new opponent for the AEW World Championship. So that's the overall consensus on this show of how I felt. It's pretty average. It wasn't the greatest AEW Dynamite show in the world, but it was a nice little post-show towards the pay-per-view itself. So if you like the video, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment down below about the show. Tell me what you guys thought about it. And hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Bye.